Hello, welcome, and dobrodošli to Feel Slovenia, the podcast. In each episode, we will explore what I have called the world's best country, meeting locals, traveling, eating, and getting to know the very best of Slovenia. This podcast is written and hosted by me, Dr. Noah Charney, and is brought to you by the Slovenian Tourist Board. Ljubljana has quietly become a vibrant center for contemporary art. Its latest highlight is an exhibit at the newly opened Cukrarna, a former sugar factory turned sleek gallery. The exhibit is called Art Vital, and it showcases the art of Marina Abramović and Ulay. The two were pioneers of performance art, both independently and as a pair, both romantically and creatively. When I studied art history as an undergraduate, they were the only two performance artists who were included in my Art History 101 survey course. That's how important they are. This episode is quite personal and special for me, as I knew them both. Ulay lived in Ljubljana until his death in 2020, and we were friends. We had discussed writing a book together, but in the end I wound up writing a book about him, including extensive interviews he and I made in his Ljubljana apartment, and also interviewing Marina Abramović. Marina is arguably the world's most famous living artist, and this episode features an interview with her. So join me to learn about Ulay and Marina and the exhibit that is the most recent example of Ljubljana as a great contemporary art center. Slovenia's art landscape has become an exciting hub for contemporary creativity, anchored in the vibrant capital Ljubljana. At its heart is the Cukrarna Gallery, a major space for contemporary art that hosts international exhibitions, performance projects, sound work, and experimental visual art in a beautifully restored industrial building on the Ljubljanica River. Cukrarna joins a constellation of dynamic venues in the city, including the Škuc Gallery, known for its long history of supporting forward-thinking artists and socially engaged work, and the Museum of Contemporary Art Metelkova, which presents cutting-edge national and international collections. Beyond the capital, Slovenia is expanding its cultural footprint with the forthcoming Muzej Lah in Bled, a new contemporary art museum designed by David Chipperfield Architects and set to open in 2027, which will house an ambitious collection of modern and contemporary art and serve as a cultural destination against the backdrop of the Julian Alps. In this very special episode, I speak to Marina Abramović, easily the most famous female contemporary artist alive, and probably the most famous living artist regardless of gender. What follows are excerpts from my interview with Marina in Ljubljana in 2024 for my book, There's a Criminal Touch to Art. First, I asked her how she and Ulay met.
Well, I met him in the Apple Gallery when I just arrived, from Belgrade. And he was there. I was preparing myself to do the performance, Lips of Thomas, in the gallery for this the show, the TV show for the first time that was made about body art. It was called body art those days. And he arrived to the gallery, and he had this long coat with the fur and half face makeup, like a woman, and half face as a man. And he was looking fantastic. I mean, come on, coming from fucking communism, I never saw anything like that. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
It was so attractive, really. And then, I made performance, and I was cutting my stomach. And he really was so gentle, helped me with the wounds, put alcohol, bandage, and then he disappeared. And the same evening, it was, celebration that all the people who work on this project, we went to Turkish restaurant to have a dinner. And this was my birthday. And I said to everybody, let's have drink, it's my birthday. And all I stand up, he says, my birthday too. Also. And I said, don't trust you. Just prove it. And he came with this diary with the 30 November missing. And I could not believe I have the same diary, 30 November missing. Because my birthday was shitty for me. Because you know the story about my birthday. No.
I do, but if you don't mind telling it.
The story is that my mother always told me that I was born 29, which is Day of Republic. And all the kids born on 29 would go to Tito, sit on his lap, and get candies and presents. And every time came this, my mother said I was not good enough. So I never was invited. And then till the point that I realized that I was never even born 29. I was born the 30th way of punishment, like one of the punishments. Anyway, So I hated my birthdays. I always take out. And he didn't like his either. And that night, after the dinner, we just went to his home and I think we stayed in bed for 10 days. It was very passionate, lots of sex. And then I took to go home. I was also married. So
Oh, I forgot about that detail. Okay.
yeah, I was a little bit married. So I went to the
A little bit.
and I was really lovesick. And I spent 3 months and I was calling all the time. We record all the recordings. We have it. We're going to translate now.
Oh, wow. That's
We
really
have
cool.
these recordings from Belgrade in cassettes. Unbelievable. All this love. But then after that, the bill of telephone was so high. My mother told me it was this old Kelly telephone. I put in the cupboard, the closet. I could not call. and then I remember that we decided we're going to meet in Prague, which is a geographical middle between Belgrade and Amsterdam. And he took KLM and he arrived on time. And I took Airfloat, Russian, and we were 6 hours late. And he had lots of vodka waiting for me. And then we went to the only hotel we could afford, Hotel Paris. It was totally fucked up. And I remember it was the radio that you can never switch off because it's also the recording of the conversations. And it was like, and then we met some kind of wonderful conceptual artists in those days. And then we decided there we're going to live together. So I went back to Belgrade and then I took only my negatives, no clothes, nothing, with a second-class train. And I went to Amsterdam. My mother went to police and asked, they say that I'm missing. And then they say, but how old is your daughter? She's 29. I said, Marina Abramović, it's about time. We have better stuff to do. Please go home. And that was the end of the story. And then we started living together.
I next asked Marina about planning a temporal action. Part of the appeal is that it happens just once, and some people are there to see it, and then if you missed it, you missed it. But in terms of being an artist who has things that you can sell, or that can be in a museum that are relics of an event, you need to have some physical things left over from it. I asked whether an action would have been as successful and as satisfying if there were no record of it at all, no photos, no films, or whether these relics are important to making it the sort of work that we can then study in art history classes and look at in books.
Can I tell you, those periods, we didn't sell anything. We never think of the existing of the market or such a thing. It was totally unknown to us. And also, I tell you my attitude, like when I made the Rhythm Zero with the 76 objects, I asked the director of the gallery, I expect him to throw everything away. I didn't want to have any relics. And if I'm to the read of the piece, I will literally go and buy the objects and put them there. But he didn't listen to me. So he kept 3, 4, 5 things. We are still fighting over it. So when I actually donate this piece here to the Museum of Modern Art in Ljubljana, I actually made the list and we just bought the pieces. And now we have it also, we have an edition of 3, and that one is in Tate, also bought it. I don't care. I hated relics. But then there was a big exhibition in Museum in the Modern Art in Los Angeles. And Paul Schimmer, the chief curator, he came with Ulay and me and asked about the car. Because the car was not only on living, but also we made the performances with the car. And he was making a very interesting show. First time that kind of show. Out of action with objects. Everything what you just said, what is left over. Let's say Gina Pan, the French artist, if she will cut anything on her body, she will have a piece of white cloth and make the print. And there will be blood stain, and that was the project. Chris Burden, Transfiction, he worked on Volkswagen, the 2 golden nails that he crucified himself. That was in the box. You could buy for $2,000 in Thailand and buy outright. But anyway, so that was all part of the show. And also pieces of Yoko Ono stuff, But we didn't have anything. What we had, it was the car. But then with the time when we stopped living in the car and we went to Australia, we sold the car. And we sold the car to the one alternative filmmaker, Cinema. He was transporting rails from city to city, and we give to him. And then when Paul Schimmer came to Amsterdam to look for the car, we said, we have no idea. And we give him address to this guy. So he went to this guy, and this guy said, I sold to somebody in south of France. So he was like a Sherlock Holmes. He went to south of France and found a car who's not working anymore in the backyard, and they keep chickens inside. So now he was so crazy that he bought the car back to the museum, cleaned the chicken shit, it was not easy, and brought car to Los Angeles. So we had that car in that show, which is a really important show. We have catalog.
Yeah.
Then that car went to Japan, to Museum Modern Art. From Japan, went to Lyon, and Lyon bought the car. So the car now for our show, with the Ulay called Art Vital, the car is coming. It's going to be in the absolutely in the answers of the exhibition.
Cool.
That car is in the exhibition, which runs from November 30th, 2025 until May 3rd, 2026. Art Vital covers the 12 years during which Marina and Ulay worked as an artistic tandem, from 1976 until 1988. It is curated by Alenka Gregoric and Felicitas Thun-Hohenstein, and a big thank you for making it possible must go to Lena Pisliak, Ulay's widow, who runs the Ulay Foundation. My book, entitled There's a Criminal Touch to Art, was written in collaboration with the Ulay Foundation and the Abramović Institute. I could never have written it without the support and enthusiasm of Marina and Lena. My book is a monograph on the December 12, 1976 art theft as artistic action, when Ulay stole Hitler's favorite painting, The Poor Poet by Karl Spitzweg, from a museum in Berlin. He brought it directly to the home of an immigrant Turkish family in the then down-and-out neighborhood of Kreuzberg. He hung the kitschy painting on the family's wall, then phoned the museum director to turn himself in and tell him where the painting could be retrieved. He made it clear that this was not a traditional theft, but an artistic action with a political message. One chapter of my book features Ulay's personal account of this event and its aftermath, based on interviews I conducted with him. Another chapter features Marina's view of the same event, since she was present to photograph Ulay's action that day. Here is what she said.
I think they would like to start thinking actually a reason why he wanted to do that.
Yeah.
And I think the reason is really interesting. When we start our relationship, everybody came with his own language. I came with language of performance, and he came with language of photography, Polaroids. And he only had very few actually performances. I think live maybe one or two maximum. What was with Jürgen Klauke and one with himself. And everything else was actually photographic work where public was not present in any possible way. And I think that he wanted to do something to equalize the kind of our relationship and to make the performance on his side also in his agenda. And I remember when I decided to leave Yugoslavia and to work and live with him, that I needed to make 3 performances. That was a kind of goodbye. One was Freeing the Voice, which I scream till I can't scream anymore. One was, the Freeing the Memory. I tell the words that I can't remember anymore, like 4 hours or whatever. Everything in my head come in. And then the last one was also in Berlin, actually, where also he got Spitzer. And this was to Freeing the Body, when I have the black scar on my face, naked, and I have an African drummer, and he was drumming, and I was just moving my body till I can't move anymore, and after 6 hours I collapsed. So this was all done actually before his Spitzer, and in this period he wanted to do something also in Berlin because of German, and to do something that that he had an idea, but actually never came to be the real. So I can't really tell for sure if he had this idea before our relationship or not. This is something that will be interesting to, from his side to know that, because I don't know. I somehow know that he started talking about Spitzweg and talking about Hitler, and, that was his favorite painting. And then also the Spitzweg painted 3 of them, not 1. And there's some replica in Munich and somewhere else. So I didn't know much of this, all the story. But I think that painting was, for me, one of the horrible pictures. Really horrible. The painter presented, in his bed, with a little umbrella, because everything's raining and collapsing and poverty and so on. And then I remember those days that when he got more and more enthusiastic about the idea, that he really wanted to plan like a bank robbery. It was very important for him timing when the guards are going, coming, changing, in the museum, how the guards look like, and the young and the old, to understand if they have weapons, they don't have weapons. And then also all the, exits, the fire exits and the rolling door in the middle of the museum. And then when the public is the most there on the weekends or during the working day. And then really he was also thinking about what he should dress, like, I don't know, Adidas probably, I don't remember, sneakers that are fast, that can run. But at the same time, it was the middle of the winter. So we also have to think about go to sleep.
Yeah.
And then for him it was very important if we take this painting from the wall that it will not be damaged because it's really priceless. The concept was important, but not damaging art piece.
Yeah.
And then a part of all this, it was this problem with the car because we had a shitty car, never start, especially not in the winter. So he had to actually have the car leave running, and that he can not have the problem with starting, because then the guard, if you run after him, will just get it.
Yeah.
So this was so much planning involved. Then I remember we went to René Block, which those days was galleries who present Fuchs's artists, Namke Pai, and Joseph Beuys, and all these people, and to tell him about action. And he was pretty much impressed. And then also somehow he was not happy to know that because it was really breaking the law. But he knew it, but he didn't want it to do anything about it, or, not to tell anybody. But at the same time, he hated that he actually had to keep the secret. And then I think, I'm not sure about, because, Ulay was talking German so much in those days. I don't know that we had a lawyer already, that he had a lawyer, that he actually gave all the information to the lawyer, that this is a, art action, and so on, so that he's protecting that side. And then my function at that time was that actually I'm so bad in anything, technology, I'm bad in, telephone, computer, find anything, and I was very, very worried about my part. But my part was really to have Super 8, the camera, and to film that moment when he's taking stuff on the wall. And then also immediately take this cassette, put in my boots, and then put new one. So the police come. Actually, I was filming police coming, and everybody saw me with camera. So police came straight to me and say, to give him material. And I immediately took camera in a cassette from the camera, give them this whole thing. And at the same time, they could see themselves coming. So there was nowhere to go. But then, which is interesting to me, first of all, it was really, wow. It was something that we know we're breaking the law. And it was so much intensity that that day was especially cold. And then also when we entered the museum, it started snowing. Oh, by the way, part of that, he really wanted to document well. And that he found the Fassbinder filmmaker, the cameraman, who actually was immediately interested, because for him, anything Fassbinder was such a, always edgy, whatever he was doing. And Fassbinder died. He was no action. So he was excited to do that. So he said yes immediately. And I didn't ever have contact with him. I never met him. But there was really the Ulay relation. And also he wanted to make sure that this action is his own work. That it's nothing to do with my work. Because I was finishing my free body voice and the memory. And he was doing Spitzweg, something to do from his childhood, Nazi, born with with the swastika in his birthday. So that was really his thing. And I just wanted to be literally somebody that I just recorded moment. So then I remember, oh God, waking in the morning and being incredibly nervous, most of us hardly talking, and, dressing up, going to the museum, and not too many people. I don't think it was more than 12, maximum 11, 12 people, and all different types. There was old couple, there was somebody with a child, there was somebody, just random people. And, it was down, the Spitzweg on the, below floor, not on the ground floor. And I remember that everything had to be very fast, that he had to take it, put in a plastic bag and run. And you have to, break the exit, the fire exit, next to the revolving door. And I remember I I filmed that moment, put the cassette in, and I go immediately up, and alarm starts right away. And only what I saw is the entire family stuck in a turning door. And I think it was with a child, or one child, two child.
Huh.
And it was this strange image of frozen family in the entrance, and then total chaos, alarm and running guards. And I saw the one guard run very close to him outside. And I was so afraid that he had a pistol get shot him.
Yeah.
But the good thing about this whole thing, all guards are old.
Yeah, sure.
And that was a good point. So basically, easily he could run away. He went into the car, get the car, it was, running, and the other one, the guy who was filming from the fast video, what is his name? I don't remember. But all of this I could not see, because basically the car was around the museum, and I only saw him running, and I saw the guy running, and I saw the Ulay just kind of went faster. So the guy gave up. So the guy was coming back. So I knew that Ulay was in the car. And then after that, everything froze. The police came very soon, and nobody could leave the space because we was all stuck. And then they come to me and give a cassette. And then after that, we all had to sit down and give the statements, which was incredible. That it was, to me, this event was like a Kurosawa Rashomon movie.
Yeah.
Like you have 7 people in the forest, and each of them saw part of killing.
Yeah.
And they sit around the fire and tell the story.
Yeah.
And every story is completely different, and you can't make any sense. This was exactly like this. Somebody said he was small with glasses. Another one, he was tall and with long hair. Another one said, no, he was bald. I mean, it was a description of so many different people, but very little to do with really Ulay. And then we could not leave for 3-4 hours anywhere. So I have no idea how far he is with his action, because the idea is that he will go, to the Kreuzberg and find the telephone booth and phone the director of museum and tell him that it's not art action. And then he will go to Turkish family, which he visited before, and take the kitsch from the wall and then put the Nazi kitsch on the wall and invite them to see. So Ulay really succeeded to get to Kreuzberg, find the telephone box, and you can see from the movie, he was so nervous and his voice was different. Everything was incredible and it was unbelievable romantic because there was snow everywhere. Snow started getting more and more dense. So I remember looking from the later on in the movie that he said to call to the museum and telling that the work is not damaged and that they have to come to see it. And of course, in those days, the director, he was with the assistant, and the entire police was informed. So they was thinking there was a Red Army or Red Brigade, like the kind of action, because later on in newspaper, in the tabloids, it was the linke Radikale robt unsere, the schönste Bild. Something, our left radical, the stole our most beautiful painting. So this horrible Spitzweg became one of the most beautiful and treasure painting. So they completely surround so he went to Turkish family, but they completely surround all the Kreuzberg, all area, up with the police and stuff. And then I think he never met the director because he never came. I don't know what happened to the director. I think police arrested him. So this is the part that I know. And I know that he went to prison, and then the lawyer was there, so everything came out to be the art action. It was incredibly kind of heroic. Yeah. I was very proud of him. And that was really the moment that actually our relationship got total balance because of that.
Slovenia has become a strong center for contemporary art, and one that will only get stronger when the Musée Lach opens in Bled. If you're interested in the book There's a Criminal Touch to Art, How Ulay Stole Hitler's Favorite Painting and Redefined Performance Art, it's published by Bloomsbury. If you're in Slovenia, be sure to go and see the Art Vital exhibition. It's a big enough deal that contemporary art fans are flying to Ljubljana just to see it. What a privilege to have the work of 2 true icons of art on display here. Hvala and thank you for listening to Feel Slovenia, the podcast. This podcast is brought to you by the Slovenian Tourist Board and was written and presented by Dr. Noah Charney. Please subscribe to get each new episode and tell all of your friends interested in travel and all things Slovenia. If you'd like to learn more, visit slovenia.info. For more information, you're welcome to follow our social media channels, Feel Slovenia on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, LinkedIn, YouTube, and TripAdvisor.